Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jambavati's book I left in the car, didn't we? Okay, yeah. So it's very nice to be here. We've been visiting, I don't know, Seattle since, my gosh, 20 years, like that. And then when Nilamadava were in different building then. They moved from different places like that. Oh, wow. It's very beautiful garlands. Okay, so Papa Ki Jai. Oh, very nice. Yeah. And, so the basis of our whole culture, actually Prabhupada says, every science has its books. Chemistry, physics, mathematics, every culture. For example, what is the fundamental text for communism? Who wrote it? Yeah. And for the Nazi movement? Mein Kampf. By Adolf Hitler. His name before was Adolf Schicklgruber, but that doesn't quite make it for Heil Schicklgruber. It isn't Heil Schicklgruber, so he changed it to Hitler, so on. And so so many things like that. And of course, the big revolutions. Okay, then Darwin's book. That it was the Origin of the Species. I think it was Origin of the Species, like that. So always, literature probably says, books are the basis. Books are the basis. And so what is our culture based upon? Our culture, huh? And yeah. Hari, we believe in Hari, Supreme Lord. Guru, right? Guru, Vaishnavas, Bhagavata, Gita. That's our culture, really. We believe we should associate with devotees. We should especially take association from Guru, very elevated devotees. We should believe in the Supreme Lord, and especially Bhagavata and Bhagavad Gita, like that. So our topic was the next, maybe tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. We're here for 3 nights. And our topic is going to be Om Hrim Shaum. Yeah. Our topic was going to be every bear can dance. How many bears here? Okay. Yeah. So Prabhupada says that even a dog can take part and dance in ecstasy, like that. And have you seen that? Have you seen dogs joining the Harinam program like that? Animals? Here's Janananda Swami. He wrote a book called Animals in Krishna Consciousness. And it's just different stories of different animals from the Bhagavatam and things like that. But also from in a personal experience. There's many animals that participate in this movement. Who was Maharaj Bharata, right? He renounced everything, and he went off in the forest. But then he became a little proud, and he wanted to be the best friend of one deer, like that. Yes, the deer was worshiping him. Okay, so he became a deer in his next lifetime because of that. But he was where was he staying? He became a deer. He became an animal. He had a big fall down, like that. Somebody else may start smoking cigarettes, but he became a complete animal, like that. My God, what happened to you, Prabhu? Like that. Yeah, that's Suduracharo. Yeah. So where was he staying when he was a deer? Huh? Yeah, I think Pulaha Muni, and he would hang out near the ashram, like that. So many times you see different animals. They stay near our temples and very devotional aspects. Like in Brazil. Nova Gokula, it's a big area, it's a beautiful area, it's right in part of a national park and everything else, flowers, fragrant flowers, and all kinds of birds. And there's a nice, not a river, maybe about half this size, about this deep, about this fast, flowing right through the property, with nice beaches. So on the weekends, so many tourists come there, like that, to swim on the beaches, and they have a whole bunch of little shops that devotees can rent, on a long-term basis or by the weekend. Somebody's selling pizza, somebody else has something else, and it's very, very nice. Then of course the temple program goes on, so that the tourists come and look at that, and they read little things about it. So it's very nice, natural preaching program. People come for programs like that. You know? So outside the main temple, next to it, is a little square samadhi, you know, for Prabhupada, and it's about maybe 1/3 the size of this room, like that, with a nice veranda around it, and Prabhupada's Murti. So there's like, you know, Mangal Artik there for Prabhupada and different regular services. And then there's a chain in front of it, you know. So the devotees told me every day one horse would come, like that. It's okay, yeah. So I saw him. I mean, he comes about like 7 o'clock in the morning and stands right next to the chain, you know, as far as he can go with the chain, right in front of Prabhupada, like basically about from here to where Prabhupada is. He stands there for 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours just standing there looking at Prabhupada every day. Yeah. My goodness, yeah, okay. And there was a dog in our temple in Australia or New Zealand. I think it was Australia. And his name was Hari Rama, the dog, like that, you know. And he loved to go on Harinam. And he knew that when the devotees were putting, like, you know, prasadam, instruments, everything else in the van, that they were getting ready to go on Harinam, so he would jump right in and wait there and go with the devotees. And they would go to the small town near there, and he would go along with the devotees and chanting and barking, and actually he would attract other dogs to also come, and people like that, you know. And so everybody knew him like that in the town, like that. And sometimes when the ladies would complain because they had to sit in the back with a dog like that, he didn't always bathe properly and stuff, so they would kind of like, you know, toss him out the door and he wouldn't go. And he wouldn't play with anybody. He wouldn't take prasadam for like 2 days afterwards, like that. He was, you know, so, you know, offended, you know. So this went on several years, and finally he left his body, and on the front page of the newspaper had his picture, and an article that said, Hari Rama, you know, dies. And it had his little obituary for him, like that, and so on, you know. So much attraction, you know. And Prabhupada says even a dog can take part in dance and ecstasy. So we did a biography of one of our disciples, Jambavati Devi Dasi. And you know, we've been doing movies in the past. We did a movie in Light of the Bhagavat, Disappearance of Bhishma Dev, the Person Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada, and the temple in Peru. So now we actually, this one we decided, instead of doing a movie, we do an audio book like that, because it's much more accessible for distribution like that. It was experimented. It came out very well. And so this is actually a printout, you know, of the whole book like that. And they have a DVD in the back with the audio book there. And this is a reviewer's copy like that. We're giving it out to people who want to. You can get a copy, but you've got to write a review then, like that, or something, you know. And then later on we're going to go to a full printed book like that. And basically her story is very interesting. It's very exciting. It's incredible, the whole story like that. It's like Slumdog Millionaire or something like that, you know. And the person we're working with, the director's name is Oscar. So we're joking that if this wins an Oscar, he'll be the first Oscar to win an Oscar, like that, like that, so on. But he and his wife, they belong to a very artistic community in Peru, and he's a pretty famous guy. They're always doing programs like that, and they like working with devotees and stuff like that, you know, so on. So we have very good friendship, a lot of programs. So this time we tried the audio book, and the main reason was that because she's doing so much Sankirtan for so many years, you know, always going out, you know, this like fanatical book distributor, you know. And but at some point she started always having problems with her health, you know, since she was a child. And then when she was a child, she had some problems with her jaws, so he did a whole surgery thing like that. But after maybe like, you know, 30, 40 years, it's very natural, it's starting to have problems. So her jaws were starting to disintegrate. And without the proper treatment and surgery, the jaw would come loose and just kind of hang there and stuff, you know. And so she was asking if, you know, she didn't ask, but we were trying to figure out some way to help, you know, donate for the surgery. It was about $6,000, everything, all the work. And NEOS, our nonprofit corporation, cannot give money overseas like that. The government really doesn't like that, money going out of the country to, you know, terrorists. But we can buy things. So I told her, you write your biography, and then we'll just, you know, give you a donation. We'll pay for the copyrights. Okay, you know, so that worked out pretty well. So she started writing it, And then one devotee edited it in Spanish. Actually, Oscar edited the Spanish. Then Patrak translated it in English. And I went back and did a retranslation with more impact and everything else. And then it went back to an actress. Shh. Haribol. Then it went back. Oscar has one actress named Priscilla. She was a very, very nice person, rather famous in Peru, younger girl. And so she played the part. She read the whole thing like that, so on. And so basically it starts off, and she was in a middle-class family in Peru. And her father actually, like many people there, several, was an orphan. But he struggled very hard, to develop himself economically, and got married, had his family, so forth, so on. And he became actually making good money from antiques. And there's a lot of antiques in Peru like that. And so they would find them, evaluate them, sell them. So he was making a good income. But he had a problem with alcohol, which is not too surprising, the way he grew up like that. And so the family always had these kind of problems like that. So she describes how she met devotees, and she saw a thing that said, have your horoscope done. Okay, what is your future? What is your life? So she was doing well in the university. She got a degree in economics. She became started working for a stock brokerage company. And she actually became like the director of international, monetary things like that, doing well. But everything was kind of meaningless, what's this all about? What's life and everything else? And she thought there must be something more than just making monies. And of course that community had parties and, and everything else, and drinking, and she wasn't very happy. So then she saw an advertisement in one of our vegetarian restaurants. Have your horoscope done, improve your life. So then she submitted the information, and she was supposed to go to the temple to pick up the information. Okay, so she went there, and the devotee wasn't there, and she asked somebody. They called, and he said, I'm sorry, I got caught in traffic, I'll be there in maybe like 30 minutes. She was waiting, and then the whole program started like that, and somehow or other I came in. I was there at that time, and came in like with some reception, flowers, and she was amazed. Well, who is this person? Like that, so forth, so on. People are paying their obeisances like that. So we gave a lecture, and then she was very impressed. She never heard anything like this before. This philosophy, culture, everything else like that. So it was the beginning of her contact with Krishna consciousness. And she wanted to get more involved, understand more things, and everything else. And so finally she found out about book distribution, that Srila Prabhupada is so happy when we can take any of his books, somehow or other. For example, when you go on the airplane, you just put a book in the seat pocket, right? And you leave it, and the next person finds that book there, and what is this? So many ways, to distribute books like that. And that's what Prabhupada says is our most important service. Most important service. What is the most essential service? The most important is book distribution, but the most essential is? You don't know, huh? No? Chanting 16 nice rounds a day. The Prabhupada says so many services in the Sankirtan movement, but the chanting of 16 nice rounds a day is the most essential. Without that, your book distribution will have no essence. Your deity worship will have no essence. Your service to your family as a devotee, no essence. Right? So that's it. Taking the time every day to chant nice rounds. Rupa Goswami says, only a demon tries to finish his rounds quickly. Okay. Oh, yeah. And Prabhupada says you chant 16 nice rounds, administration will be at the end of your finger. There'll be no question of economic problems. Your family relations will improve. People will respect your preaching. Everything. You just take the time and the effort to focus. And somebody maybe after they chant 4 rounds, they start to become, their mind starts to become restless. You can't do more than 4 rounds in a concentrated fashion. And so they have to do something else. Okay. So you find out. Okay. Prabhupada said when I was a Grihasta, I would chant 4 rounds before breakfast. In India, breakfast means like 9 o'clock or something like that, And then I would chant, I would chant 4 rounds when I got up, he said. 4 rounds before breakfast would be finished, so 8 rounds finished always before my breakfast. And he said during the day I would find time to get 4 more nice rounds done. And then finally, before I would go to bed, his last 4 rounds would be finished like that, you know. He said, this way it wasn't a burden. I would just distribute it like that, you know. But he also said the best time to chant your round is before Mangal Artik, you know. Get up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, chant 16 nice rounds before Mangal Artik. Then Mangal Artik is unbelievable, like that. You're so Krishna conscious, you know. I do that. But I also take a nap. Too, you know. So everybody has to adjust, you know. What is your service? What is your life? But the most essential service is this japa, those rounds. Then from that, automatically, we'll see. You want to hear about Krishna. You want to have Srimad Bhagavatam class every day. You want to hear about Dhruva Maharaj, you know, Maharaj Prithu, you know. And then you want to distribute these things also. Okay, distributing books. You know. In the Bhagavatam, very nice verse. Nigama kalpatarora galitam palam sukha mukhad amrita dravya samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam mahor aho rasika bhuvi bhuvakaha bhuvi bavukaha. This is the third text. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sukadeva Goswami, and therefore this fruit has become more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable by all, including liberated souls. Like that. Yeah. So this is the idea, that we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we're inviting other people, right? Other people. What kind of people? Expert and thoughtful people. Yeah. Actually, you see, the Bhagavatam is for highly elevated people, like that. You know, when Krishna came, was he distributing knowledge freely? Was he giving it? Lord Chaitanya gives it to everybody, anybody. You know, young, old, invalid, lame, good, bad, like the alcoholics, saints. He gives Bhagavatam to everybody. Did Krishna do the same thing? What's the difference then? Huh? Krishna made a requirement. He says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja. First you surrender, like that. In the beginning, Arjuna was making so many suggestions, you know. Let's go see these rascals so we can fight with them. Put me in front of these rascals. And so Krishna put him in front of Bhishma and Drona, not in front of Duryodhana and Dushasana, which would have made him more enthusiastic to fight, to get revenge. He put him right in front of Dronacharya and Bhishma. Did they ever do anything bad to him? No? No, nothing. You know, they took care of them. He loved them like anything, like that. And so then he realized what is karma, what is reaction, what's going to happen. So he came to his senses like that, you know. And he was giving so much philosophy about why to fight, why not to fight, all these things, one after another. But it wasn't satisfying him. He was still in great distress. He had great problems like that, you know. So then what did he do? He decided he wasn't going to fight, but then that's also not a solution, because he knows he can't do that. He can't walk away from it either, like that. So what did he do at that point? Huh? Yeah, and what is the Sanskrit? Sisyas teham. Any Bhakti Shastris here? Anybody here have your Bhakti Shastri degree? Oh yeah? Okay, for the honor of your teacher. Who's your teacher? Huh? Oh, I know him. Okay. So what is, actually he told me when I was here to test his students, everything else. So we've been talking about the Bhakti by Baba program. We're developing all these things now. So what is Krishna, Arjuna tell Krishna? Sisyas teham. Jai, a very good teacher. Yeah. Sisyas teham sadimam tam prapanam. I am your disciple. Please instruct me I'm surrendered to you. So what did Krishna say? Sochayan avasochas twams pragnavadams chabhasyase gatasum zakatasum cha nanu sochanti panditaha. He says, hey Rabbi, he's not, he's Pandit. Is Arjuna a Pandit? The Panditji. And he's got all these laser-directed hellfire anti-tank rockets and all this armaments here, like laser cannons on his ring and all this stuff, like that. He said, "Hey guys, maybe we should talk about this," like that, so on. So Krishna's sarcastic, being sarcastic. Hey Pandit, because he's getting all these big talks about this and that and this and that, But then he surrenders. He says, "Okay, okay, you asked me, so I'll tell you the truth." And then he takes the position of a teacher and solves Arjuna's problems. So this is the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, the same thing. It's saying the Srimad Bhagavatam is that we should hear it, we should relish it, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Shmarnam, and then we should inspire other people. Here it says expert and thoughtful people. So the Bhagavatam is like that. But when Lord Chaitanya came, he was even more merciful. Right? When Krishna came, the storehouse of love of God was locked. Right? Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's joking pastimes, his flute, these are all stimulus, vibhava, for ecstatic symptoms like that. But you couldn't appreciate these until you surrendered like that. Prabhupada says very few people understood Krishna. He said some of the yadus, the dancers of Braja, he said, but most people, they didn't know who he was. I mean, we're doing a lot of work in the academic area, and if you look at archaeology, if we're worth looking at it, they try and understand what happened thousands of years ago, this investigation, that investigation. And so it appears that all over the world was the cult of Vasudeva and Sankarshan. And how were Krishna and Balaram known in Dwarka? In Dwarka? Is it Nodi Yashodanandana? As Vasudeva. And Balaram was known as Sankarshan. Yeah. So there was communication all over the place. They had different mystical powers and things like that. So people knew about, Vasudeva and Sankarshan, and some people were, following their cult, worshiping them like that, But to actually know Krishna's qualities, you have to become surrendered. But Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva, they broke open the storehouse, and they satisfied themselves talking about Krishna's form, pastimes, activities. What does Krishna smell like? He has to use deodorant? Strawberry shortcake? You don't know? This is the Hare Krishna temple. You know what Krishna smells like? Narcissus and jasmine. My goodness, so nice. Yeah. What are? There's three sounds that only the most fortunate people ever hear. What are they? The most fortunate people. The sound of Krishna's flute. This is Bhakti Vedanta. The sound, this is Bhakti Bhava, this is Bhakti Sarvabhauma. The sound of Krishna's ankle bells and the sound of Krishna's voice, I think. And anybody hears those, it's way beyond Vaikuntha. You become mad like that. You can't find your way home. You can't go to work. Especially women become completely bewildered by hearing these three things. So Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, they just relished these things and became ecstatic and enjoyed life unimaginably. Then they started giving it to everybody, anybody, doesn't matter who they were, offering it for free. So that's Lord Chaitanya. Krishna says, okay, you surrender to me, I'll give you this, like that. Lord Chaitanya says, just take it. And Lord Nityananda says, even if you don't want it, you take it. Like that. He'll hop on top of you and force your mouth open, like that. So Nityananda, Vijay. Yeah. So this is Krishna Katha preaching. It's very natural. Once we hear these things, it's very naturally you want to tell somebody else. You want to share it like that. So same way she was coming in contact with the movement in Peru, and trying to deal with her life and everything else. And so she started becoming a devotee very soon, chanting rounds and everything else. And she wanted to move into the Brahmacharini ashram, but her health was very bad. She always had these problems. So she was staying with her father, and one time he came home late at night, like 12 o'clock at night, and threw a whole bucket of water on her, and saying, "Satan, leave the body of my daughter," like that, totally intoxicated. So she ran out in the street in her night dress and went to a neighbor's house, and like that. So many problems like that. He's a nice person, but he just had the problem with drinking before. And her health. So then finally she found out the devotees were distributing books, so she was going to get some books also, because, okay, we're going to go out chanting together, and devotees that want to can take books from the BBT like that and distribute books, And so she got in line. Okay, I'll do this too. Maybe I'll take 2 books and 3 books. And devotees in front of her were like, taking like, 40 books, 25, 75. And she, my goodness, what was that, So it came her turn, and she'd been thinking of taking like one or two books, and she felt, well, I'll take 10. The new bhakti, okay, So they went out chanting, and for hours, and she was approaching people, and nobody would take a book, And she said it was more and more frustrating, and finally it got dark, and devotees were chanting under the street lights. They're going to go back in maybe like half an hour, and so she just started crying. She said, "Srila Prabhupada, I want to do this for you, but I'm just terrible at this. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Please forgive me." And she looked up. "Please help me." And she looked up, and there was the cars stopped, chanting out in the main street. And one person looked like her father. He looked at her, looking at her, and just smiling, nodding like this. So she went over to him and said the same thing. We distribute these books. He took from Indian philosophy, this and that. He said, "I'll take one. It's okay, I'll take one." And he gave her like, $20. They were like, small books. And she didn't have change, and the light was changing, and this and that. And now she's more frustrated. He said, "No, give me some more. I'll take it like that." So he drove away, and she distributed like 6 books. So then she started just chanting Prabhupada, and then she was ecstasy, and then other foreigners went like that. So that was her first experience of book distribution, And then she went back, and she then had all the money. She collected it, and she gave it to the BBT, and the guy said, "Okay, this much is for the books, and this much is for you." For me, like that, because she was struggling to get money for vegetarian food, because her father was eating meat and everything else still. And then at that point, she had this realization that if I just engage in book distribution, there'll never be any problem with anything else. The money I need for my health and everything else like that. And so she became convinced of that. So different things, trying to distribute books, and then finally she they wouldn't let her live in the ashram because she had problems with her health and her lungs and everything else. So finally, she got permission to live in the ashram in Chosika. Lima is a big city. You have 2 centers in the city, restaurants, everything. But you go about maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on traffic, 50, out of the city, and you come to Chosika. It's going up the river into the Andes. And it's kind of a weekend resort town, many clubs there and stuff. And a very nice temple they built there. Very nice, very beautiful. And nice ashram, everything. So she started living in the ashram and trying to do some service and stuff like that. And her health was still problematic like that, And it becomes very cold there. And of course in the ashram there's no like heating or anything. Like here. So one day she was like sitting there in the morning, and her health's bad, and she wants to distribute books, everything else. And it's the Gundicha festival. They clean the whole temple. And then one of the mothers was actually a doctor. She told her, Jambavati, "Look, you just can't do this. You've got to, go back to the ashram." They told her she couldn't come in the mornings, but she wanted so much to see the deities, everything else. So come over to my house. It's across the street. You can drink some hot tea there and get warm. And so she was having so much problems. She went over there, drank the tea and everything else, and now it's becoming like time to greet the deities. And so finally she knew it was going to happen, but she just trying to restrain herself. She couldn't. She went over to the sink and just coughed up a whole pool of blood, like that, everything else like that, And the doctor told her, said, "What are you doing? You've got to take care of your health." She said, "Please take me over. I want to see the deities." He said, "You can't go. I want to go. If you really love me, take me. I want to see them for And they opened like that. So she said, all right, you stupid fool, I'll take you. So she prayed to the deities, please, I want to have hell so I can serve you and everything else like that. And she said from that point, gradually her health started to improve. She was able to eat more and everything else like that. So many experiences like this, And then same thing too, she was doing book distribution and, and wanted to win the marathon. And it goes on like this, maybe 6 chapters. And at one point they were up in the mountains in Peru with 1,000 degree below, was zero weather, tribal people, and she was leading like 6 new girls, and they're all about to drop dead, and she was inspiring them and everything else, and they couldn't do it. And then she saw Lord Nityananda coming right out of the crowd, chanting like that. And as you read the book, you realize this is not a weak-minded person. You read this, you go, my God, this is like person's like, much more strong-minded, determined, and even sober and devoted than I am. So when she said she saw Lord Nityananda, you think, yeah, must have, And then everybody was just so enthused. They distributed 4,000 books in 15 minutes and everything else like that, and so on. So full of all kinds of, stories like this. I think it's after 5 years of traveling to different countries and helping her father, get over his alcoholism and everything else. She finally wins the Christmas marathon. At that point, it's just like New Year's, like that. So saying it has potential of being like Slumdog Millionaire or something like that. So right now we're trying to get people's opinions and stuff, and then get into actually good marketing for it like that. And it's an audio book too, so you can hear it, about 20 minutes for each chapter. And so anyway, we're here. We're going to leave a copy maybe with Pandava as the book, and then the DVD, and you can make copies. Give donations. It's not cheap, editing these things. Actually, Oscar, who makes the movies, it's the first time he did an audio book, and he said he thought it would be easier, quicker. But he said it's actually more difficult because you don't have the visual images to work with, and the visual images, they time your audio and stuff like that, So without that, you're just sitting there, and it's more difficult to create the feelings, to create the flow, the timing, and everything else like that, so on. So anyway, that's what we're doing. But our theme is tonight, a couple minutes more, is that our title is that every bear can dance. And we chose bear because your name's Jambavati, like that. It comes out like that. Every bear, because she didn't know, can I do it or not do it, and I want to do it. Am I going to make it or not make it, like that, and so on. So her story, in some ways, it's like even for Hare Krishna devotees, it's like amazing. These fanatic book distributors, again, during the marathon, it's the same thing. She was like coughing up blood and everything else, going out distributing books, and people were telling her, look, if you just promise to go home and rest, I'll buy all your books. So she would take him up on the offer, hide behind the trees for 15 minutes and come back out and sell more books like that. One point, the rest of the girls in the ashram said, Jambavati, you got to rest. It's a marathon, we know, but just rest for a few hours. Okay, I will. Then when she got up, she tried to go out, the door was locked. And they wouldn't let her out. She was screaming, crying, kicking on the door. They were pushing prasadam under the door, So after 3 days, her health did improve and stuff, And then she found a way to climb out the bathroom window and go back to the, distribution camp and stuff like that, so on. So even for book distributors, she's not the only person. There are many people like this in this movement who have this experience. How do they do it? Why do they do this? And so it's a rare insight into what's happening and the kind of life and experiences of mercy these kind of people get. How can you be Jesus Christ? Said, yeah, go pound it in here like that. Because you use a little smaller nail like that, something like that. Yeah. All the sins of the world. Okay, yeah, go ahead. So on. I mean, how do people do this? Yeah, because the amount of mercy they get is unbelievable. St. Francis said, I want to experience, at the end of his life, the angels are coming. I said, I want to experience a little bit of the suffering that Jesus Christ experienced to take all this karma. At the same time, too, I want to experience a little bit of the mercy he got to be able to do it. And so the angel said, okay, it's very famous, and out of his eyes came these rays of light which burned right through his hands and his feet. It's called stigmata. And he went back to his disciples and he had these bleeding sores like that, and so on and so on. But he said that the mercy was unbelievable. He said you can't have a human body and maintain this. It was just for one moment. It was just, your body would just disintegrate to see that much happiness and realization of how kind God is and everything else like that and so on. So in that sense, for devotees, it's incredible. Then beyond that, for preachers, if you're describing, if you go out there on the street distributing books and you see a Jehovah's Witness, right here, okay. When this is the older temple, I was here, and one time I walked up to the lake. There's a little lake up there. And I was walking back down the hill, and a lot of barriers then, and I saw, it was like this, and I saw coming up the hill 2 young men wearing suits with little name tags here. Who are they? Yeah, so I was thinking Mormons, and they saw me coming down the hill. It's a Hare Krishna. So we're like, like that. And I said, Hare Krishna. And they said, Hallelujah. Like that. So we had a very nice discussion. My karate instructor was a Mormon. His name was Johnny Otter. And so I was becoming a devotee. So we had these 2 Mormon missionary girls come to our house, and they have a whole systematic way of preaching. There's a lot to learn from them about preaching. And different levels. The first week this, the second week that, then a little movie, and So we went all the way to baptismal challenge, where they say, okay, do you want to be initiated devotee or not? In our movement. And we went all that way, and we said, well, no. It went on. So I knew a lot about the whole culture. It's very interesting. Actually, the Book of Mormon and everything else is interesting, reading the whole thing and making the comparison. And actually, you have a lot of people to talk to then. Just about, this little while ago, we were in Boise, Idaho, and I asked Anantarup and the devotees to make an appointment to talk to the director of their campus program, because they have a house right across from the campus, a center like that. And we want to do the same thing. So they made the arrangement. We went there, and the person was very friendly. But in the beginning, you can tell, okay, these are Hare Krishnas, we're Mormons. But as we started talking about our experiences and our views of philosophy and the things we go through, this guy began to realize these people are just like us, So same way these 2 guys here, we were talking, and in the end, God's a person, yeah, God's a person, and everything else. And so many things. It was very nice, So finally they gave me a book, I gave them a book, and I kept on walking towards the temple. They kept on walking the other direction. And I was thinking, these Mormons are very nice people, and when they become just a little bit more advanced, they'll be able to appreciate Lord Chaitanya as God like that, So as soon as I was thinking that, I was thinking, wow, but I know what they're thinking, right? Oh, these Hare Krishnas are very nice. When they're a little bit more advanced, they'll appreciate that Lord Jesus Christ is the ultimate, Right like that, Okay, But so many things we can agree on. We're both in favor of family values. We're both opposed, totally opposed to abortion. We're both in favor of proper, care for poor people and fighting greed and selfishness. We're both in favor of developing your spiritual life as your primary thing. The hours every week in terms of this, and having a real taste as possible, to have real taste in spiritual life. So, this kind of book is not only good for devotees, but it's good for all kinds of preachers. There's a Buddhist phrase: when two thieves meet on the road, they need no introduction. They know each other by sight, like that. Right away, like that. Yeah. So same way, when you go out as a preacher, even if you're dressed in ordinary clothes, you see somebody else, you may think, "Wow, this is a devotee." You go, "Hare Krishna." Hallelujah. But then right away, it's a Madhyamadikari. It's a higher Madhyamadikari. And he knows God's other places. He knows that. He has his tradition, So he may be not participating in the details of your program, but he can appreciate it. He'd like to go to your temple, like to see how you worship God, like to learn something, Yeah. So the same way, many people, I think Jehovah's Witnesses, everybody else, they would give a review of the book and say, you can see the power of God working in different churches and stuff like that. And then we can work together. The atheists want to separate us, divide and conquer, right? the atheists are very happy when people are fighting on the basis of stupid things between different churches like that. The Protestants against the Catholics in Ireland. What else? The Muslims against the Hindus in Asia. Like that. They're very happy. One time we had a program in Peru, and the devotees invited the students. Students invited the devotees to come on campus. It was Catholic University. It was very successful. Many students came and everything else like that. So next day, the students who organized it got called to the office, and the Catholic brothers said, "It was a very nice program you organized, but we don't think these kinds of programs are actually proper for the university. Don't invite them again." Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay. So I came, actually the first time, and what they'd done then is they went to the brothers and they said, "Oh, we want to have an interfaith dialogue. We want to have our Catholic priests. We want to have a Buddhist guy, Jewish guy, and a Hindu guy, and come talk about some of these basic questions." They said, "Well, okay." And they didn't tell them who the Hindus were. Like that. Yeah. They didn't tell them who the Hindus were. So we went there, and I was there, so I was participated. And Prabhupada says, the basis for the common cooperation of all faiths is what? You don't know? Huh? Sankirtan, congregational glorification of God, His pastimes, His names, His activities. So all different religions in the modern world, they can appreciate this. If they just do this, avoiding the 10 offenses, they'll achieve all success. And he says the 10 offenses are not a Hindu thing. Like that. In every scripture you'll find them. Like that. For example, we say one should not preach the intimate glories of the Lord's name to the faithless. Right? So what is that in the Christian tradition, the Bible? Jesus is sending His preachers out and He tells them, do not cast your pearls before swine, pigs, or else they will trample them under their feet and then they'll attack you. Like that. So you're starting to talk to these people about the intimate aspects of Krishna. First they'll attack your philosophy, and they'll come after you. Like that and stuff like that. You fool. So he says, same thing. Talk about the general aspects, the culture and the philosophy, but it's offensive to actually talk about intimate things to people who aren't ready. It's not their problem, it's your problem. You're doing these things. So 10 offenses are there. It's a very nice project to go through the Quran, the Bible, and everything else and find nice presentations of these 10 offenses and then show people, sing about God, talk about Him, but do it doing with these things. Don't blaspheme preachers. Don't be engaged in sense gratification on the basis of the holy names, sinful activities. And so we had this. That was our preaching platform for this interfaith dialogue. And there was one young Catholic priest. He apparently heard a little bit about the Hare Krishna movement, so he started calling us a cult. The Hare Krishna cult. But the Jewish guy was calling us a sect, a division of Hinduism. The Buddhist guy was calling us a division of Hinduism, and even the Muslim guy. So after some time, he accepted. Well, maybe they aren't a sect. Maybe they are like one bona fide branch of Hinduism. And then the Muslim guy, his basic program was either you surrender to Allah or you're going to go to hell. That was his program, like that. And the Buddhist guy presented his thing and the Jewish thing, And the hall was full, about this size, full of students, like that. And people standing outside by the windows, like that, so on. And the atheists were there, and the atheists kept pointing out all these differences between religions and how they materialistically and they fight and they're all evil. But we started like talking about how the common basis is everybody chanting, singing. And so even the Muslim guy came to the point of saying, yeah, you're right. When little children sing about God, it doesn't matter what religion it is. It's beautiful. It's pure. And then somebody else. And so finally everybody was saying, yes, there is a experiential religion that's common to all of us that we can all taste like that. And so the atheistic guys were like the waves on the beach. They were like falling back more and more until finally it became ridiculous, and everybody else was going boo. So they were just driven out of the argument like that, because everybody was saying, yeah, in all of our religions, you're right. When you sing about God and talk about Him, you get an experience that doesn't depend upon any particular, politics or anything. The Catholic guy couldn't get off the platform of social welfare. His final conclusion was, if I'm hungry, it's a material problem. But if you're hungry, it's a spiritual problem. His idea, But he was a young guy. So after the program, though, he actually was taking a lot of prasadam. He's a young Catholic monk. He ate lots of prasadam, was asking a lot of questions, and he helped us carry all the books and stuff out to the car. So he converted. So next day, the Catholic priests, there. Prabhupada said that the Catholic Church is the oldest institution in the world and very intelligent, very organized, So next day the students are thinking, oh my God, we're going to get it, And maybe a couple of days afterwards they were asked to come to meet the priests and talk about this thing. Big university, it's one of the most powerful universities in Lima, Universidad Católica. So anyway, so they went in there and the priest said, very nice, good program you've organized there. Wait a second, what's going on here? Yeah, and why don't you organize it again, like that? Oh, on this date, it's a good date. Something, yeah. So they invited us to come again, interfaith dialogue. Now this time they had an old Catholic priest there, like a 65-year-old brahmachari, like that. And he'd read all about Hinduism and Christianity, and the Hare Krishna movement, and he knew all the problems, like everything else like that, And I wasn't there, and the Madhara Krishna president said it was tough. This guy knew exactly what he was talking about. And he said, and there were many points we had to admit that we have certain defects and deficiencies and everything else like that, And so anyway, the whole program went on, and we were preaching. In the end, this guy said, okay, so to me, it seems that, the Catholic Church, I'll tell you honestly now, it seems to me the Catholic Church has a lot to learn about spirituality and philosophy from the Hare Krishna movement, like that. But it also seems to me that the Hare Krishnas have a lot to learn about administration from the Catholic Church. Yeah. Right on. Prabhupada said that. Go to them and find out how to organize things. Actually, I took Hari Vilas to see the legal officer of the Catholic Church in Oakland, like that. And we were asking about these things about what do you do, in terms of these problems. He was the guy who was in charge of the canon law thing. And we talked about what they do, because they deal with these things. Some priest is having relations with members of the congregation, and it's discovered, or of course child molestation, or some different things like that. They have a whole history of this. And they have their own internal law. If somebody's divorced, or can you get divorced? Well, yes, you can get divorced on a certain basis like that, and you can remarry. Otherwise, no. In ISKCON, it's a big deal, about this question in terms of our Western devotees and things like that. And the GBC has to make decisions. So we went there and talked to this guy. He was giving us some practical advice. One of the things he said is that if somebody cooperates with us, and they surrender, they say, okay, I won't try and hide anything, everything else. This is what happened, I'm sorry, everything else. He says, at that point, we'll never throw anybody to the wolves, call the police, go to hell. No, we'll hang in there with them all the way through everything like that. If somebody surrenders, like that. Other thing he said, if somebody makes a complaint about somebody, his character's loose and this and that, he said you have to make a complaint. We don't tolerate gossip. If you want to have some criticism, you come out and you make it, and then we'll come down on it and we'll investigate it like that. He said everybody has a right to their reputation, like that. So very good how much they apply it or something, but in general, the general principles were very enlightening, So we were asking questions about this and that. Did you cut the guy's head off for this? Do you burn his nose? And the guy says, well, but that mercy is the essence of justice, right? Oh, well, yeah. We just forgot for a moment, like that. Wow, Well, what's the guy's name? Harish Chandra in the Vedas. The very famous story of Harish Chandra in his court. He has to make a decision, right, about to kill somebody or not, like that. And so he can't decide, because according to the actual facts, to truth, Satya, the guy deserves to be killed. But according to Daya, he should give him a chance. So it shows this thing going back and forth. One story. It's so funny, Narada Muni and Vishvakarma get involved, and it goes through this whole thing, whole complicated thing, and he loses his kingdom and everything else. And finally he comes to the conclusion, because he's fixed on this idea that no, truth is the essence of justice. Everything, whatever the truth is, That's justice. But after going through all of this, he comes to the conclusion that no, mercy is the essence of justice. Ultimately, Radharani is more powerful than Durga, more clever, like that. Krishna's mercy is his real quality, not his just making decisions on what you deserve. Thank God. Haribol. And so on. So, these kind of books are preaching our Sankirtan. We can do wonderful things, interfaith dialogues. There's so many things we can start going out and meeting people and talking to them. Everybody has a different nature. Every bear can dance. Some bears are fat. Some bears are skinny. Some bears are black. Some bears are white bears. Some bears are brown bears. Brown bears here, and so on. And everybody has their particular nature, qualities, a way of doing things. And so Prabhupada says, every salesman has his own techniques. How many salesmen here? Any salesmen here? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. You're a salesman. No salesmen here. Anybody here ever do any selling? Sell books? Like that? No? Yeah, everybody has, you develop your own way of doing it. Like that and so on. So Prabhupada says every salesman has his own technique. But you can learn things from other people. So I can do that. Hey, that's a good technique. Yeah, I'm going to take that one, this and that. And then you start to develop your own way of book distribution, your own way of preaching, your own way of getting the message out, like that. And so interfaith dialogue is one very nice area. Is it developed much here? Some places it developed, some places not. You're going to different churches and things like that. The Gurukula in Lima, the little kids, they would go different churches, different schools like that, and put on programs. And of course, it was so attractive, very nice, and many people liked it very much. Having children from other faiths come to their school, and so their children could see them and ask questions and associate. And it was super popular program. Like, when you're coming back, like that. And then they saw kids from other religions coming to our school, like that, and so on. So many opportunities. If somebody may hear that and they go bong, like that, Who's Arnold Schwarzenegger? He's a famous ballet dancer? No? Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know him, right? No. When he was a young man, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he wrote his biography. He's not a devotee. Arnold Schwarzenegger's philosophy is karma mimamsa. What is that? What is the karma mimamsa philosophy? Huh? Yeah, and do your duty. If you by following your duty properly, you can get any results you want. You can get everything like that. You can control the universe, I guess. So anyway, when he was a young man, maybe like 16 or something like that, he was out on Saturday, just riding with one girl. Bicycles, go for a bicycle ride. One girlfriend, Heidi. They went along by the river, and they saw all these guys down by the river lifting weights. It was some weightlifting club. The second he saw it, it was like, a past life experience or something like that. And so they went down there. He started asking all these questions about, different things are for different muscles and this and that. And so finally he became so intoxicated, he said, well, Heidi, do you think you could go home alone? He said, well, okay, Arnold. Yeah, so you're having fun. Okay. So she left, and he started lifting weights and everything else. And they told him, hey, slow down. It was your first time, but he couldn't stop. And on the way home, he fell off his bicycle. He was so weak, he just but that was it. He couldn't stop after that. He was just addicted. And they got these it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger's biceps, when he was fully pumping it, were 36 inches. If he's sitting here, he'd be about this tall, right? And the movies, the other big guys about this tall, with just picture these little black kids sitting on his arm, like that, so on. But that was, everybody has a certain destiny, a certain karma. Hamlet knew this. In the West, Hamlet teaches that. You have your destiny. It may be roughly cut, okay, but you got your limits. How much money are you going to make? You can try as much as you want to. Do you think it would have been possible for Bill Gates not to have become rich? If he tried his best, do you think he could have avoided becoming rich? Yeah, you go this way, the money falls on your face. You go that way, it falls on your face. Like that. You try and kill somebody, and it turns out he's the most horrible person who ever lived, and you get a reward of $100 million for murdering somebody. Try and poison yourself, and it becomes an antidote for AIDS. Like that. It's serious. We think about bad karma, destiny, but no, it's opposite is love too. I mean, of course, everybody. Some people. The devotee is very good at this. He reads the physiognomy. He's very good. He just look at you. He'll start telling you your character, everything else like that. He said, "Girls are very attracted to you, aren't you?" The guy turns red. Yeah, they like you. You find you funny, humorous, everything else like that. You have a hard time avoiding them, and this and that, and so forth. So the face is, it's physiognomy. And so what's it called? Samudrik Shastra has included the same thing, like that, reading it with character. So everybody has a particular nature. And when we use this in Krishna's service for preaching, then it's the perfection. Find out what it is, how to use it in Krishna's service. So, of course, one very nice area is this area of interfaith dialogue. And if somebody's inspired by this, it's one area we also like. Because you're already dealing with people who are religious, like that. Prabhupada, he says, what the Bhagavatam says, you're self-realized when you can explain the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in such a fashion that anybody can understand it. You meet this kind of person, you can put it across to them. You meet this kind of person, you can put it across to them. Like that. Yeah. And that's because you're in touch with the Paramatma at that point. The super soul. She's telling you, say this, do this, and you can really, you feel it. You just have a rapport with everybody like that, so on. So Prabhupada could preach like that. But even he himself said, I'm not a scientist. I'll give you some general principles, but people who are technically trained, they have to, do this scientific preaching. So he didn't do it himself. He gave general principles like that and so on. But in specific areas, he wasn't qualified. Same way too, he didn't speak certain languages, so he used a translator, like that, so on. So everybody has particular area in nature, like that. This interfaith dialogue is very nice because you're already dealing with people who have some kind of religious background. Prabhupada says that devotees, when they go out on Sankirtan, they come to the Kshatriya platform, going out confronting the people like that, the way we're doing it. But he said that the Brahmanas, they said, what can they do? He said the Kshatriyas, in Kali Yuga, they can rent property. They can have some property and rent it out and maintain order amongst their tenants. And then the Vaishyas, of course, making money. But he said the Brahmanas, what the Brahmanas do, Prabhupada? They can preach to enlightened people. Who do the Brahmanas preach to in Vedic culture? The kings. That's their job, to get them engaged. Out of 1,000 people, maybe we'll find 900 are Shudras. Skilled artisans, even software engineers. They know their skill, they know their ability, they use their mind rather than their tools, like that. Okay, it's very high. Nanda Maharaj could not read or write, Prabhupada said. He would hire an educated fool to do it for him. So there are also educated fools, like that, who can't do anything else, but they have to have somebody else engage them. Okay, so that's a Shudra. Okay, no problem. Jayananda was a Shudra. Back to Godhead. What's my nature? So 900 out of 1,000 people, maybe 900 will be Shudras. Artisans, very nice people, whatever else. Simple people do their job. 90 will be Vaishyas. They know how to engage people, what to do to make some profit. Not just you're good at it, okay, you're good at this, but do this, we'll make some profit out of it. Okay. 900 will be Shudras, 90 will be Vaishyas, 9 will be Kshatriyas. Death before dishonor, right? It's not just enough to do it right, make some profit on it, but there has to be some social responsibility involved here too, like that. So then finally one will be a Brahmana, like that. So it's very rare. We see so many Brahmanas and Brahmanically inclined people in our culture because we're attracting them. Prabhupada says in the beginning, we're trying to attract, we're looking for first-class people and giving them first-class habits. Because in Kali Yuga, you may have all these weird habits, everything else, but at heart, you're honest. You're honest with yourself. When you see something is correct, even if you don't like it, you accept it. That's a first-class person. Maybe he smokes, drinks, everything else, but then we can give him first-class habits, train him like that. So by this movement in the beginning, we're trying to increase the Brahminical culture, everything else like that. So we see so many people in our movement who are like that. But that's not the mass of humanity. Most people aren't Brahminical like that, and so on. And so then if you find talking to people who are religious, right away you've got something there where you can deal with people at a different level like that. You know, start to talk about different things like that, and so on. So interfaith dialogue is a very, very, very nice area for preaching like that stuff. In this book specifically, because it's preachers. So I think I know many. If we get it published, we have some people who want to do the marketing for us, some younger devotees. Tell them there's so many journals and Christian journals. If you send these to the editors, I'm sure you're going to find that some of the editors will review it and say it's a very interesting book to understand how these different religions are working and their ideas like that. Of course, they're not mature enough to understand Jesus Christ, but but God is working amongst them, amongst these people too, like that. Yeah, like that, so on. So maybe tomorrow we can talk more about different perspectives. How everybody can be a book distributor, everybody can be a preacher, everybody can be the dearmost devotee of Lord Krishna. Okay. So any questions now or comments like that? About anything, actually. Anybody coming for the first time here? Okay. I don't think so. What is your good name? Okay, I remember, yeah.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, so before coming to Hare Krishna, I was exploring Vipassana or the Buddhist techniques.
Yes.
And also in office, I'm in touch with my Catholic or Christian friends who explain what they do and how they do. I also had a Muslim friend whom I used to discuss with. So I see a few common things, like every stream of religion or sect, they talk about some prophecy about how they are going to be the #1 in future. They talk about how uniquely they are the best. So at a high level, is there some, it looks like a design, it is not an accident.
Sanatana Goswami says, every single cowherd boy thinks that he is Krishna's closest friend. He thinks, well, why I don't deserve this. I mean, there are many other boys who are so much more devoted to Krishna and so nice and so sincere, but Krishna's always talking to me about these confidential things, and why am I his closest friend? So Sanatana Goswami says, every single cowherd boy thinks that he's Krishna's closest friend, and he says, by the nature of the internal potency, it's a fact. Yeah, there's the secret. Every single religion. Yeah, different religions, whatever. There's Nazi culture or religion, whatever. But basically speaking, every single religion thinks that their religion is the best religion, everything else like that. And so we would say that different things. Yeah, there is a hierarchy. There is differences like that, and so on. But basically speaking, the other principle is true, that every single religion is the best religion. And this is not the kind of logic we use on this in the modern industrial society, but it's valid. It works. Even materially speaking, there are certain principles like which is bigger, the set of all positive integers or the set of all positive and negative integers? They're both infinite. Yeah, you have to use a different term. You can't say they're not co-numerous like that. So higher level mathematics, right away this thing breaks down, and every religion can be the best religion, and it should be. And then the fun comes in of actually, the competition in that way becomes healthy and happy. As you see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when you're in somebody else's church, the time of worship, you should think, okay, the same God I'm worshiping is being worshipped here. And because I don't belong to this tradition, I won't participate in the details of the process like that. But I can learn wonderful things about how to improve my service, my worship, like that. And so that's why it's very good, these dialogues. The more we can start cooperating with other churches, when this Mormon guy in Boise, Idaho, when he started to warm up and realized that we're so close, then he started telling us all the trade secrets. And we started telling him our trade secrets. You know. He said, we both know that door-to-door preaching is the lowest level of preaching, like that, least effective. You know. And he said that the most effective is for people is bhakti vriksha, basically. That your social contacts, you get them to come and be involved in a nice way, and that's the most easiest way for people to get involved in a religion. You know, cold door-to-door preaching, you said, well, we didn't have anything else to do, we'd do it, but that's the least effective, you know, like that. The most effective is people who know people socially, and then they want to know why you're that way and different things. You just invite them to programs that they can, you know, approach and not be frightened or anything else. And that's the best way, you know. So many things like that were very good. And he wanted us to come back. He wanted to visit the temple, and so on, like that. Yeah. So, but still, you know, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the best church. Yes, sir.
So a follow-up question. So it's okay if every religion thinks they are the best and leave the details for others to figure it out. But when most of the religions think others are going to hell.
And that's the Kanista Adhikaris.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Kanista Adhikaris, Madhyama Adhikaris, you know, Uttama Adhikari. And also too, in any company, materialistic devotee, you know, is in it for his own personal thing, like that. You know, in the name of Christianity, they were conquering all the Arabs in northern Africa because for the land. That was just pretty much universal historical fact. They wanted the land, and they're using Christianity as a reason, you know, to conquer it like that. So Kanista Adhikari is two kinds: those who don't want to advance and those who want to advance. But in both cases, they're still very much tied up in the materialistic aspects of it. You know, you approach God because you're in distress, because you want money, because it satisfies your curiosity. And these are all, you know, materialistic things. And because everybody is, you know, there's a limited number of material resources, and there starts to be conflict on the basis of religion like that. You know, little children, right? My daddy can kill your daddy. You know, Jehovah can kill Allah. You know, maybe Allah and Jehovah don't want to kill each other. You know, or Jesus can kill Lord Chaitanya. You know, but that's what it is. It's just this immature, you know, very materialistic thing that my God's better than your God, and therefore I have a right to more crackers than you do because, you know, my God's better than your God. You know, or, you know, you see that because religious thing. Okay, then we'll take the positions of the government. We'll organize things this way, that, and, you know, prestige, fame, all that kind of stuff. In the gross level of, you know, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we have more rights. Or the subtle level, profit, adoration, and distinction, like that. You know, yeah. And so, Madhyama Adhikari has come to the point of actually following an acharya, you know, Uttama Adhikari, and he's actually engaged in the proper process like that. Basically, we say second initiation is Madhyama Adhikari, like that. At that point, he can see other people. He makes friendship with people of other religions like that. So you see people on that level, they have many friends in different religions like that, you know. And he avoids the demons, you know, like that. Understands who is God. And people who are innocent and just have bad association, he helps them like that to advance the Madhyama Adhikari level. So, but yeah, we don't say. I mean, if somebody's a nice Catholic, a nice Christian. We're not saying that St. Francis of Assisi is going to go to hell, you know, like that, or Jesus Christ is going to go to hell. You know? No, we don't. There are many nice people in other religions. And when we say, Prabhupada said, they asked him, are the Christians going to go to the spiritual world? And Prabhupada said, yes, if they follow Jesus Christ's instructions. And they said, well, Prabhupada, how will they know what Jesus Christ's instructions are? And Prabhupada said, some priest will tell them. It hasn't got to be like, you know, the super parampara. Just the basic ideas are there. If you follow them, teshamevanu kampartam. And Krishna will give you advice. And the advice he may give you is to become a Hare Krishna devotee. Yeah, like that, you know? Yeah. Or else he may tell you to go on in your tradition and find, you know, Prabhupada one time was in Australia. He was invited by the devotees, he made a thing to go visit a Cistercian monastery. And Cistercian monks are a very active, the sincere branch of Franciscan monks, followers of St. Francis. So Charu said it was about like maybe 45-minute drive. They finally got there, and they had a beautiful monastery out in the country. They were growing their own food and everything, and very nice. And they probably got out of the car, maybe like 5 devotees with him. And the older monks came out with gray beards. And they're very simple, they're monks things. Maybe like about four people came out to receive Prabhupada. He said right away, Prabhupada was looking at them, and they were looking at Prabhupada. The thieves looking at the thieves. They kind of looking at each other. And they both kind of smiled like that, they could see, okay, So he invited him in, and the living room area was about maybe, maybe 1/3 the size of our room here. Maybe 3 sofas, some chairs, maybe about 25 monks there, some very young, some older. And he said Prabhupada was sitting on the sofa between the 2 older monks. He said after about 15 minutes, Prabhupada was like this. He was almost embracing them. He was just like sitting there like talking and just laughing and stuff like that. For example, he would say, now look, I'm a new man here, but you've been, and I'm having no problem with my brahmacharya ashrams and how to run these things. But you're experienced guys here. You've been doing this for many years in the West and how to establish standards and stuff like that. So you've got to give me a little help here, how to run my my brahmacharya ashrams. And it was like that. They were talking. They were asking Prabhupada questions. They said it was such a but Prabhupada never went beyond Shantaras, like that. If God is great, He's the more wonderful, like that, and so on, like that, But it was very religious and very spiritual, and very wonderful interaction, like that, so on, Yeah, I know Catholic priests who became Catholic priests because they were devotees. They came in contact with one lady. This is two years ago. She was in Ecuador. She went for confession. On a Saturday, the priest on the side of the curtain, she started crying, I'm going to go to hell. And devotee, the priest said, well, mother, what have you done? He said, I tried to raise my son properly, but he's become a Hare Krishna. And so he's going to go to hell. We're all going to go to hell. And the priest started laughing and said, no, they're very good people. I became a priest because of contact with them. Really? That's one. So she told her son like that. And after that, she wanted to become a Catholic, but she wasn't like disturbed after that. He became a devotee and stuff like that. So?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.